Hey guys, Corey here. Going to show you how to do an oil change on the Hellcat. It's not really a hard job, but a little bit more in-depth than a regular oil change. Got to remove this splash cover from the underbelly in order to access the drain bolt and, of course, the oil filter. Then you got to take off the other underbelly pan that connects to the bumper and has a bunch of rivets, clips, and bolts in order to access the oil cooler to drain the oil cooler to do it properly. But before we begin, let me show you what you're actually going to need to get this job done.
So here we go, guys. Here are the tools you're going to need to get the job done. I got a smaller ratchet here with a 7mm socket to get the screws out that are holding the pan to the bumper, the underbelly pan, to access the oil cooler. 10mm right here on this socket. This takes out the bolts that have the splash guard cover over top of the oil filter and the drain bolt. The breaker bar is only if you have a bolt that's stuck. I don't recommend it on the actual drain bolt at all, but you know, from the factory, if you haven't done an oil change yet, or sometimes the dealer will put it on really tight, you may need it gently. Go very gently when undoing this bolt. I don't recommend it, but if you absolutely can't get it off with a regular socket, you can use this. You're going to need a torque wrench because you're going to want to torque them to around, I believe, 25 foot-pounds if you have a factory bolt. If you have a Mishimoto washer like I do, which is magnetic, you're going to want to use 15 foot-pounds. If you have a Mishimoto, do not torque beyond 15 foot-pounds. Otherwise, you could possibly damage it. It's all that's needed on an oil drain plug. So most important, guys, you're going to need a 93mm oil filter wrench that's going to go on your 3/8 drive ratchet. This is going to take off the actual oil filter. It has to be 93mm. That's the only one that I know of that fits. You're also going to need your oil filter and your oil. Do not run anything in your Hellcat other than the Ultra Platinum 0W40 from Penzoil. Do not run anything else. So this is the only oil I can actually sit here confidently and say, this is the oil I recommend using. Even the dealer says it. All the performance shops I've talked to, everybody uses this oil. So if you're going to do it yourself, please use the 0W40. I'll put a link down there in the information box to get this oil and to get these tools that you're going to need to do the oil change on your own. It's not very hard. Also, I don't recommend using the regular black Mopar oil filter. I highly recommend using the SRT. It's higher flowing. This is a totally different part than the other oil filter, the black one. Highly recommended to spend the extra $5 or $6 and get this filter. It's much, much better of a filter. I'm going to have the part number down there in the information box as well. So let's go ahead and get started and go ahead and get the underbelly pans removed and start changing the oil. So you do have four bolts, one right here, one right over here, and then you've got another one right over here, and then right over there. 4 of them to actually take out in order to access the oil filter and the drain bolt. You'll notice this one here has a 4, and then you'll notice over here there's a 1. Back here you have another number, 2, and then you got 3 over here. Remove them and replace them in the order of the numbers. I don't know why they have that there, but it's not like it's any structural integrity part that's holding anything together, but I would definitely just follow that direction. So let's go ahead and get the pan off and start by removing those 4 bolts. And you can just slide this pan backwards and gently place it behind you. So as you can see, here is the drain bolt right there, and then you've got the oil filter right here. But first we're going to remove the underbelly pan so we can access the oil cooler. So in order to take the underbelly pan off, you got to take out this clip, this one right here, and there's 3 on the other side in the exact same position. You also got to take out this clip right here under the car. There's a couple of those. So there's not really too much effort needed to get these clips off. As you can see, there's a spot under there you can push a flat-headed screwdriver, and you're just gonna pull it out gently. Wiggle it back and forth, and you can see this one's pretty much all the way out, and then you're just gonna, you know, remove it with your finger like so, and it comes right out. Don't worry about the retainer itself. Sometimes you can put the clip back in and it'll actually pull
the retainer out, sometimes it will not. But when you pull the belly pan off, you'll be able to get it back out of the pan itself. So I wouldn't worry about that. But as you can see, I got it out. Sometimes it just sticks. So once you remove this one here, there's another one opposite side. There's 2 under the underbelly, and then there's 3 on the wheel well on each side. Do the same thing, and then you can remove the 7mm screws that are holding the bumper to the splash cover, and then we can start accessing the oil cooler. So once you take out those clips, you can see you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back there you have 8 7mm screws holding the underbelly pan. So here we are with our 7mm, and we're removing these small screws that hold the splash cover onto the bumper. Now we're just going to remove the last few on this side. So now we've got the splash cover completely unbolted, and we can just slide it backwards and then move it out from underneath the vehicle. So here is the actual bolt for the oil cooler. It's very easy to get off and on, just hand tight. Do not over torque this bolt or go crazy on it. And we're going to drain the oil out of there, but after we drain the oil from the actual pan. We're going to drain the main oil pan first, and then we'll move on to that. Also, make sure you remove your oil fill cap first before you drain your oil. Otherwise, it won't drain properly. Always open that first. So it's pretty tight clearance in here, but the Mishimoto oil drain bolt is amazing. It's magnetic, and I would never use anything but high-quality magnetic oil drain plugs because it keeps particles out of your oil. And you're going to just basically break the, you're basically just going to undo it gently. If you have a factory bolt, it may not be on there in a way that's easy to get off. The dealer and the factory tend to put them on there really tight. Make sure to have your hand above the oil drain plug so you don't spill the hot oil all over yourself. And you just angle the bolt as you're pulling it out in such a fashion that it's not going to spray all over you. I did get a little bit on my fingers, but the oil wasn't that hot. It was cooling down a little bit while I was getting the underbelly pan off and whatnot. And then you're going to clean your oil filter drain plug, whether it's factory or magnetic. You're going to clean it, let this oil drain, and then we're going to take the filter off and run some oil to the engine to flush out this stuff. I like to run half a quart of oil to the engine just to flush out all the junk that's left behind. So as you can see, the stuff on the end of the oil drain plug that's coming off, you can see that's why I like magnetic drain plugs. This is the stuff you don't want floating through your engine. So as you can see, all the silver coloring here is metal particles, very fine metal particles and shavings that come out of the engine that are very natural, but you don't want them floating through the engine. So the magnetic drain plug is absolutely amazing to have, especially on a high-performance vehicle like this. So as you can see how clean it is now, it's ready to put back in, but I'm just going to go ahead and flush about a half a quart of oil through the engine, show you how to do that. I recommend it just kind of flush out any dirt and particles. Now, I should have mentioned you're going to need a funnel, but you're going to want to pour some of your Penzoil Ultra Platinum Oil, 0W40, remember guys, through here. And as I'm pouring the half a quart through the engine, I'll show you the view under the car, and you'll see the oil's coming out a little dirty, and it comes out cleaner and cleaner as the oil flows through the engine, just flushing anything as it runs through, just to make sure everything is clean inside. So you're going to put the oil drain plug back in, and you're going to want to do this only just enough to stop the dripping of the oil, and then you're going to want to get a rag and just make sure everything's wiped and clean as much as possible, and then put this back in finger tight, and then go around everywhere and make sure it's all clean, because you want it to be clean so you can know if it's leaking once you start the car. So here we go, going to torque down the oil drain bolt, 15 foot-pounds on this. Factory is more like 22 to 25. As you can hear, there's the click, that's 15 foot-pounds. If you're removing your filter for the first time, really good chance. It's going to be pretty hard to remove, but make sure you have an extension, as you don't want to be working with your hands in between the subframes. It's going to be a pain in the butt, and you're just going to counterclockwise turn to get the filter off. As you can see, it's coming along nicely. The good thing about the Hellcat is the oil filter is actually pointed down. So it's not like it's at an angle and it's dripping all over the frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up in here and just kind of clean it out. You don't want to have any dirt or oil or anything. So very important when you're prepping the new oil filter, make sure to remove this protective cap. You never, ever, ever want a dry start. And since the oil filter on the Hellcat is 100% vertical, which means there's no angle to it, it's not angled to the side, you can fill this oil filter pretty darn full, almost to the top, without having to worry about it. And you do not want a dry start on your car. It's not good for the car at all. Little by little, filling this oil filter, trying not to get too much on the anti-drain back valve, which is these little holes right here have a silicone anti-drain back valve, so your oil won't drain back on your vehicle when you're starting it. And you'll notice that the oil filter will look full, but after you fill it up and let it sit for a few minutes, it soaks in, and then you got to fill it again. You want to place your oil filter on there gently. Start making a few turns, and you know it's seated on there. You can go ahead and start spinning it a little faster. Make sure it's on there good. Don't over tighten, but you want to make sure it's on there snug, and you'll notice when you feel enough resistance. It's probably about 20 to 25 foot-pounds is what I would put on it. So as you can see, we got the oil cooler that we're getting ready to drain. It's a 15 millimeter bolt. You do not want to over-tighten this or torque on it too much. When you're loosening it, you're going to want to go very gently. Just pull gently. You don't want to be too crazy on it. If you need to, you can put a wrench right here. So here we go, getting ready to remove this bolt. As you can see, it's not going to fly out of here like the oil pan. To do the service properly and get your oil measurement correct and to do everything right on this car, you've got to drain the oil cooler. So you can put the bolt back in just like we did with the oil drain bolt, and just enough so it stops dripping. And then you can go ahead and wipe it nice and clean. You don't want to do this without securing the actual assembly with an adjustable wrench. You're going to put it right on this square portion of the actual pipe, and you're going to want to make sure to hold this down with your hand while tightening. This way you're not putting any strain or torque on the actual pipe itself. And you're going to just hand tight nice and snug like so, and you're going to hold it together with both wrenches. This way you're not putting, like I said, any strain here on the pipe. So there's one thing that confuses people on the Hellcat. The 2015 and 16 Hellcats require 6 quarts of oil, maybe a little more because you're filling the oil filters, probably just a little over 6 quarts. But the 2017s require 7 quarts. Trust your dipstick. Make sure you measure and you're just below the fill line before you fire it for the first time. Let it run for about 5 minutes, then turn it off. Let it sit for about a minute or two, then check again and top off as necessary. You want to be right under the top fill line of the dipstick. If you go over a little bit, don't worry. It's not a big deal. But I think the oil pan on both cars is the same, which means technically the 15 and the 16 have a 7-quart capacity, but they're only measured to 6 quarts. It's really weird. They changed the dipstick on the 2017. The second quart is now in. You'll want to make sure, like I said, to put about 5 quarts in. Check the dipstick. It'll probably be just above the minimum fill line, and then once you've measured that, you can put the other half a quart in. And I always, like I said, I always buy 7 quarts, so I have 6.5 still here after filling the oil filter. So once I put 6 in, if I need a little bit more, then I'll be able to do that. So as you can see, after 5 quarts, I'm still about the halfway point.
So I'll go ahead and go 5.5 and then check again. So now we took the funnel out and we're gonna put the cap in. We've got 5.5 quarts I put in. We're right below the top fill line. So now it's time to go ahead and start the car, and then we're gonna check under the car, make sure there's no leaks around the oil drain bolt or the oil filter or even the oil cooler bolts. Once we know the car is fully warmed and been running for about 5 minutes and there's no leaks anywhere, you can go ahead and put the underbelly pan on and the splash guards in the exact reverse order that you removed it. And once you've done that, you can back the car off. I'm gonna go ahead and back the car off the ramps, let it idle for maybe another minute or so, and then turn the car off, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then check and top off oil as needed, and then you're done. So here we go, get ready to fire the car up, and you're gonna wanna have it to the oil pressure setting on vehicle information. Under vehicle info, which you'll see here is menu number 2. And you're going to want to go all the way to the left. It's the 5th option from the left, oil pressure, and then go ahead and start the car and keep an eye on your oil pressure. And if you have any low oil pressure warnings, make sure to turn the car off and recheck your oil, check for any leaks. Now you can see the oil pressure right now is 60 psi. On the Hellcat, when it's cold, 60 psi is normal. Once the car is fully warm and at full operating temperature, after you've driven it or let it idle for some time, the correct oil pressure is going to be around 35 to 40 psi. I usually sit around 36. If you fire up the car cold after doing an oil change and you're below 40 psi, you don't have enough oil in the car or there's something wrong, you definitely want to keep an eye on your oil pressure when first starting the car after an oil change. This is the sweet spot for the Hellcat. Right at 60 or just under 60 is right where it sits when it's cold, and then when it warms up, like I said, the oil pressure drops. So we're going to let it sit here and idle for a good 5 minutes, let the car get up to operational temperature. So as you can see, we're at 203 degrees for coolant temperature, which is good. We're going to go ahead and go over and check the oil pressure. It's going down to 49 psi now, and that's normal. It will actually drop a little more to about 40 psi once it's at full operating temperature. Oil temperature is at 163 degrees, so it's almost right where it should be. So we went ahead and turned the car off, but now we're going to reset the oil life on the dashboard. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead and put the car to the run position, keep your foot off the brake, and then on your dashboard, you're going to go ahead and find the oil life in the vehicle info. So now here we go. We are in that menu that we need to be in to check, and you're going to go through and find the oil life, which is right here. And what you're going to want to do is press the accelerator to the floor 3 times slowly, which I'm going to show you down here, is press the accelerator right to the floor 3 times very slowly. And as you can see, it's switched over the oil life indicator to 100%. So it's pretty easy, guys. Once you've turned the key to the run position, you just depress the accelerator 3 times very slowly, and there you go. That's how you reset your oil on a Hellcat. So here we are reinstalling the underbelly pan. It's not hard. Just make sure both sides on the ends by the wheel wells are even, and make sure that the belly cover goes on the tabs. As you can see, there's a tab right here. You want to make sure it slides all the way in. You'll be able to come under here and put one plastic clip, and once you do that, press it in. It'll hold the splash cover in place, and you can just put in all your clips and bolts. So hopefully it helped you guys out on how to actually change your oil on your Hellcat and get the job done right from start to finish. If you need any of the tools I mentioned in the video, I'm going to put specific links in the information box below on where to get those exact tools, specifically the oil filter wrench that you put on your ratchet in order to get your oil filter off. And I'll put all the links down there in the information box. Support my new channel by purchasing from those links to keep more reviews coming, as I'm going to be doing more reviews and tutorials not only on the Hellcat but other cars, and how to restore your headlights, paint, alignments, all different types of tech talk, but also working on pilot for a reality show and a lot of car club videos, races at the drag strip, all kinds of videos coming out. So don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends about this channel. I got a lot of content coming in the very, very near future over the next coming weeks. It's going to be great. I'm about the Mopar Chrysler Nationals and a bunch of other car shows this summer, so a lot of content is coming. So once again, I'm Corey, and hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you soon.